Hello, welcome to the Land of Yak. My name is Laurel. Today I'm going to share with you what resources I will be using with my rising fourth grader over the summer. Okay, so I just am going to jump straight into the resources just for the sake of the video not being too long. But if you have any specific questions about anything that comes up or how I plan or make decisions, leave me a comment. The first thing is he is still working in his unofficial RC notebook level 3. He's going to finish this notebook, but he's actually going to just continue even for fourth grade. From what I'm wanting him to do, I'm still going to have him for the time being in the level 3 notebook. Part of why there's not a lot of difference between the level 3 and the level 4 notebooks, but one thing I do want to keep and I didn't want to let go of yet was the reading lesson page. I'm wanting to teach him prefixes, suffixes, root words. I want to keep that page in there for him because we're still going over that stuff. So when we're done with that, when I feel like he's got a good grasp of that and has a good grasp on the common word parts, then I can move him on to level 4, like let that page go. And you'll see our vocabulary and stuff practice kind of shifting, over time. But yeah, so right now I want that reading lesson page and some sticking with the level 3. Okay, so speaking of the reading page, so what we're doing for reading is his reading instructional level, stuff. He's still in McGuffey's 3rd eclectic reader. We are doing about a lesson a week now with this, and I have a specific kind of weekly rhythm that we're using with this. And then I've made lots of videos. I'll put my McGuffey playlist in the description box for you in case you want to see that in more detail. But if you have any questions, just leave me a comment. Oh, to go along with this, so I have bought several affix, like flashcards and stuff. But the way that we're studying them is we're just studying them as we encounter them in the vocabulary words in the reading passages with his McGuffey readers. Just because, those word parts are so common. So, each passage will have its own set of vocabulary words. Maybe some people might be using them as spelling words as well. When I just do my prep for the week, I set up some of his pages. I've just been making our own flashcards for what he is encountering in that list. And then this is what we're using. I think I've said this before. Whenever I get through the 3rd reader, I'll put this in the shop. I'll type them up nice and stuff. But we're just going through it for now. So he has those to use with his pages as well. Following up with his language arts, so for each day he would have either copywork or grammar. We are going with grammar at this stage in his education. He's done a lot of copywork. As you know, I love copywork. And so this summer he will be finishing up Gentle Grammar Level 2. And if you're wondering what's in here, it says language exercises. It starts out by saying 2nd reader grade. I guess if they can read at the 2nd grade level, they should be able to do these, which I kind of put off grammar starting it because I wanted him to be able to work on this pretty much completely independently. I remember doing Gentle Grammar Level 1 with him. I can't remember exactly when I started it. Maybe I started it in 2nd grade. Anyways, he couldn't do it on his own. It was not independent work. So I think that's why we bumped it up to 3rd grade, and he was able to do the level 1 pretty much on his own. I mean, I'm still checking it, and if there's any issues, I'm like, oh, actually this, right? Or I think I started out maybe in 3rd grade, I started having him, he had to read the instructions to me. And I'd be like, do you understand what that means? And it's pretty intuitive. Gentle grammar. Gentle is really a proper adjective. But I love it. Buy these off of Amazon. I'll link all these resources for you. Your Sherry over at Mom Delights. This is an adaptation of an existing program by CC Long, and it was in the public domain. But she formatted it nicely. It's a workbook, but we just use it kind of we use it as a textbook. So I wanted him, especially in the first one, there's a lot of fill in the blank stuff, and I wanted him to always just be writing more. So I just have him write the whole thing out. Even if it's a fill in the blank, I'm like, no, write the whole entire sentence out. Because then he's getting his more handwriting practice. And anyways, that's how I do it. So for the next page. So next page. See, this is how I keep myself organized. For our chapter or book summaries, this is for his, whatever I'm having him read, his independent reading. And this is mostly stuff taken from the RC reading list, but it could be, sometimes I pull other books from, like, I love the Ambleside Online reading list. I love the Easy Peasy readers. Sometimes they have extra things in there. And all of those 3 programs have a lot of overlap in their titles. But so he does his independent reading time. He is reading right now The Bears of Blue River, and he is reading just one lesson at a time because he's reading it from the 3rd Easy Peasy reader. So whenever he's reading something out of his Easy Peasy reader, I have him just read one lesson at a time. It seems to be about how long it takes him. Seems to be about the right amount of time. And then if there are comprehension questions that she already has in here for that lesson, I just have him, and I'm having him answer those in here. You can see this one, we have quite a bit to go over. Some days we're trying to really master answering in a complete sentence. So just like, for example, he wrote out his question for himself this time. He wrote, why was Balzer so good at finding Liney? And he wrote, because he will climb a tree and look for her. But he spelled her here. So I was like, because he, I'm trying to explain to him, that's like half a sentence. That's because he will climb a tree and look for her. He is good at finding Liney, right? But so anyways, we just have those discussions as they come up. So I love that Gentle Grammar gives explicit grammar instruction, but then I use things like reading response questions to see him putting what he's learned into action on his own without having so much hand holding. So I like the scaffolding, but then this is like showing me what he really can do, And of course we just went over spelling errors and stuff, and it has spaces. He can draw things from the story, whatever, if he wants to. Okay, The Bears of Blue River, that's not on the RC list, but I would call that, it's literature, but I also would call it like social studies, because it's talking about, a time in the past, and it's edifying about the way that we lived not that long ago. Okay, moving on with, in that same vein of writing, I consider spelling, writing. We're using McGuffey's Spelling Level 3. I've talked about this before. This is my spelling program, and it, so he's got his spelling word flashcards that we use with this as well. I bought the printed, like the Amazon version, and I am filling this out. Like, he can look at it every day. We just he moves through it kind of like a textbook, but it's just all, the pages are blank, they're not filled in. Except that afterwards, I've been going in and I've been filling them out just to make myself a key. Not all of them need to be filled out, really, because I just wanted to have a key for my younger son. I've just been kind of doing them. It takes not long at all for an adult, right? But he is just doing the work in his. He just opens up his book to whatever page, to whatever lesson, and day, and then he just has been doing the work in his spelling page in his notebook. I also just made a little spelling game. Spelling races or something like that. Not a very creative name, but so I can use with my 2 youngest boys. And I was actually thinking about even using it with my oldest son with his vocabulary words. I'll probably make an updated little video to show you how that's going, but I'll show you the game really fast. Okay, so he's got his spelling flashcards from his McGuffey spelling program. Okay, so there's 3 racetracks. They're different lengths so that depending on how many words you have, right? This would be like for the most words. Obviously they start here, they end here. Obviously it's just a race. The winners, whoever gets to the trophy first, right? Pretty simple concept. And then I love these. I'll link these. These are my favorite envelope, like dry erase envelopes. And I use them a lot for playing games and doing just things that are repetitive. We've got spelling list pages. Each player gets one. And then, of course, they pick out right there, dry erase. And then you can use either game pieces, or it's called the garage. I cut mine all out. I made these little cars like I print these on cardstock. There's a couple of them I like to choose from. And they're tiny because I use them as game pieces. But they're like printed, like, you know, like a mirror image. So you cut them out and you just like fold it. Because then it's a little standing, can pick their little car piece, whatever they want to. My kids wanted these like ratty looking ones. So I put a couple of those in there. But there's like fancy looking cars, you know, so they can drive those around the track. You can move them, but you can just use anything as a game piece. But basically they're going to take turns. You need like 2 players flipping cards. So you actually, when it's, say it was me and Will playing, when it's Will's turn, actually I will draw a card and read the word, but he can't see it. And then he has to spell it. He has to like analyze it, you know, himself and write down how he thinks it's spelled. And then the other player lays it down on the discard pile face up so they can see it and they can check their spelling. So if it's right, they get to color in their star and then they get to roll their dice if they get it right, and then they can move their guy forward, right? If they got it wrong, they don't get to roll and move, and they write down what they got wrong. If you're playing with them, this is like where I like to, if it's wrong, we like to talk about why it's wrong, so we can be like, oh, actually that can't be spelled without an E on the end because English words don't end in I, U, V, or J. That's why we put that E on the end. It's like whatever the spelling rule is, right? Which we know from going through our McGuffey program, because it's a program based on studying the spelling rules. So he's familiar with them. You know, he's already been working on them. If he's using his lesson flashcards, like these are rules we've already gone over. Anyways, I'll say first one to the end wins. It's just a really simple game, but something that we are going to be doing over the summer. Probably not like every day, but just to change it up a little bit. Okay, math pages. So for math, he's just going to be continuing on in his Right Start level C. So that'll take him well into next year. And those are his like independent subjects. But we do have 2 kind of like morning activities that we do that are like, that go to background knowledge. And these are totally outside of RC. This is just like something I want to do with my kids to benefit them, and also because it's enjoyable. So the first thing we do every morning is Bible, and we are doing the Bible recap. I didn't want to do any long like studies. Like I feel like we do quite a bit. So the Bible recap is perfect for just getting your kids to read the Bible. I actually have them, this is his little action Bible he's reading. And I found the same, you know, an ESV audio Bible on YouTube, and I just have us, like I play it and then we all read our Bibles along with the reader. Just for, mostly before, like, you know, there's a lot of words in the Bible, like a lot of names. I'll trip a kid up. Okay, then we just do the devotional afterwards, and it's at the appropriate level for children, for young people. So it's just such a nice gentle reading practice. I really want my kids to get into reading their Bibles and not being dependent on, you know, pastors and like devotions. I want them to like be reading scripture. So before we did any more, like I have done some Bible studies with them in the past, and I do like them, but I just got to thinking I want them to be Bible readers for life. And I want them to, when they do Bible studies, they should be studying something they've already read. Do you know what I mean? So they have the whole story in context before a lot of, you know, Bible studies are like topical, and like, let's get the whole thing in context in the first. So that's my goal. We highly recommend, and there's a grown-up version of this too. So you could be doing, you know, the same reading plan as your kids, and then you could be doing on your own time. You could be doing the adult follow-up. There's videos and a workbook too. Okay, so the last thing that I'll be doing with them is, you know, I love to do read alouds with the kids. I think we all love just reading to our kids. And like, I like to alternate between reading just like books of my choice, just whatever strikes our fancy at the time, and then our history, the Good and the Beautiful history. And I just do this like one unit at a time. And I just do the lessons like every day, almost every single day. So you get through them much faster. I'm not trying to pace it out over a year. I'm like, we're using this for background knowledge. This is just so helpful for when they read. There's such a diverse selection of books on the RC list, and so this really helps put things in context for them when they are reading independently. And then at the same time, part of, the Good and the Beautifuls program is the readers that come along. So I'll be reading Edith Cavell this summer, and we'll be doing Unit 4, which is the last unit, which is the history of U.S. education, World War I through the Great Depression. Let's recap his independent subjects, okay? He's going to be working in his unofficial RC notebook level 3, continuing on with his Right Start Math daily. He will be daily doing a McGuffey lesson activity and a lesson of gentle grammar, a spelling lesson, and his independent reading. And you saw those there's this place for response questions or summaries in his notebook. So his little pile looks like this. Okay, so that is William's summer curriculum. This is year-round homeschooling, and I will be back. I will do a video soon on his 4th grade, like what I have him planned for the school year, 4th grade school year. Coming up soon. Bye.